Right.
Live in front of a studio audience, it's the SideQuest, your weekly journey into the world of video games, video game culture, and people who apparently like to burp a lot. That's totally cool. Go ahead. If you don't like to burp a lot, then
Leave.
Apparently. Hey, it is. We got 2 weeks left in the year. We decided to do our annual game of our GOTY of the year, and yeah, it's going to be a fun show today. Hopefully, it's not too long. I'm going to try to zip through mine, but I already know JJ and Zach are going to have 4 hours each, but that's fine.
I can zip through it, but there is a 4-minute video in the middle of it.
Nice. Listen. I don't care how long you played Sonic Frontiers. It's gonna be it's a long video. But no, it's gonna be a fun episode. And feel free to comment along and let us know what your favorite games of the year are. Yeah, I'm Dolly Domofsky wearing my festive outfit. JJ's pulling a show his crotch.
Yeah, doing that.
I forget his name.
Vic-Man, yeah.
There you go. And yeah, that was JJ obviously showing his crotch. To my left, your right is Cat in the Baguette, Sam.
Hello.
Cello, Sam. I'm gonna go like this. Down here, down there, SideQuest.
What's up?
And then on the other side, Taylor Bliss.
That's me.
And maybe Johnny will join us too. Who knows?
Who knows, indeed.
Who knows, indeed. But you guys having a good week?
It just started, so.
I was gonna say, Dolly, we spoke like 3 days ago, so.
Yeah, we did. Actually, we did. Yeah, Taylor and I had the highest rated podcast we ever had.
Yeah, everybody's saying it. Lots of people are saying this.
We're not saying it. Other people are saying
it.
That's the best episode of all time. So, but yeah, okay, good. I'm recovering from the flu. I don't know what it was, a one-day thing. It just hit me this morning, dropped my daughter off at school, and I ended up getting home. And then after, I think I stopped at the post office. Then I got home, and it was just all at once. Just stomach started turning. I'm laying down for a little bit. Decided to call into the office. First time calling in sick, even though I've been working from home. Calling sick in, even I worked through having COVID, and this felt worse than when I had the COVID because it was just nauseous and completely drained. And so just a super quick flu bug or something because I feel totally fine right now. And it's a very slight little headache, but that's about it. That's going away because I'm going to be drinking some Evan Williams honey. I like the honey whiskeys. It's good for this time of year.
I mean, especially when your throat gets a little sore. Yeah. So the honey's there to soothe it.
Drink.
And I got some Coca-Cola. We're not sponsored by Coca-Cola, but I got Coca-Cola.
I love Zach basically yelling at his girlfriend to stay out. Back.
Stay out of my shame den.
Stay out of the closet.
I was gonna shut it because the dogs are coming in. They're gonna start going crazy.
Well, I'm not gonna say it. But
I like my headcanon, which is the fact that you just didn't want her to see your game list. You were embarrassed.
Yeah, that might be it. Honey, don't look at my list.
They come in anyway. They can't be stopped.
Beautiful.
There she goes.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Doggies.
Doggies. Well,
did they break the hinge or like what? What's up?
She knows how to open the door.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. My toddler figured that out too.
I figured that out eventually. How to open doors. It was crazy, but
sure you did, buddy.
Pat my head. We're gonna have a fun episode today. Like I said, we're gonna actually start with some reviews that have been taking place. And I'm gonna start with this first one here. Let's see if I can get the video loaded up. Sam, by the way, Sam, welcome back.
Oh, hello. Yes, I only come for award shows and only when I'm being handed awards. So I'm still waiting for the other night guys. Which one are we gonna do first?
Let's do we're gonna do the car one. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So hey, you guys watch rally racing?
Yes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Well, yeah. Okay. So rally racing is really big. In fact, there isn't a American championship as well as the international one, and maybe the biggest one, the WRC, the World Rally Championship. And this, the official game from this year, WRC Generations. Follow up to WRC 10 from last year. And basically, you're getting a lot more WRC, much more. Yeah, great. A lot of the tracks are returning from the past. A lot of the different routes. Weather effects are very different. You're now talking about being on the PS5, which you have been for a couple generations, but you now have more detailed force feedback and whatnot. And this is the first one that I've played on a wheel. So it was a sort of different experience. Also played a little bit on controller just to compare, since I'm used to playing rally racing on a controller before this. And what I can say is WRC Generations is probably the WRC game that you should buy if you're looking for a WRC game. But at the same time, if you're looking for a rally game, I think you'd probably be better suited in something like Dirt Rally. What's here is a very good package. It's the most, detailed and accurate to what is the sort of league and the cars and teams and drivers that are in that league. And it does offer a pretty good simulation of rally racing. But there's just some complications with its driving setup that doesn't feel great. The handbrake, for one instance, just doesn't feel consistent. Like if you're going around the same corner, the same speed, after you've restarted because you've rolled or something, that handbrake's going to operate different. The game just doesn't feel consistent with the sort of feedback that it's telling you the driving is. And I don't remember that being an issue when I reviewed, I believe, WRC 8, was it? The first one that jumped to the new generations, to the PS5
9.
and Xbox One. Was it 9? Okay.
It was 9.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think it's a really good sort of driving simulation, and it's the most online rich that you can do. There's leagues, different sort of weekly and daily challenges that you can compete in, and there's just like an overall a lot of package here. But it's maybe not the best driving simulation if that's what you're looking for.
Are there any other big rally games?
Dirt Rally 2, and Dirt Rally.
They still make they still make Sega Rally?
No. I don't think so.
They do not.
No? That's the
there
one
is
I know.
also Rally in like Project Cars. I believe iRacing now has some rally
iRacing has
autocross
rally stuff. Yeah.
So there is other of that sort of simulation out there. On consoles, you're talking about, this is probably more simmy than some of the more arcadey stuff that you're going and getting. The other big thing is here, they've now added the electric cars, the fully electric sort of rally cars. But to be driving them in a career, you have to clear a season of non. So to experience that new mode, those new cars that they have added to the game, you sort of have to complete a barrier, unless you want to kind of get into an online lobby and hope that it will pop for you.
Just more anti-EV propaganda, dog. It's fucking...
And the other thing is the career mode in WRC has always been kind of lackluster to me. It's super filled out. You basically manage a team, you see a calendar, you can choose certain events. You can basically build your career into a certain manufacturer if you wanted to. You can write all your narratives and all that stuff, and they've even streamlined some of the team building stuff. But I just wish there was a way to kind of tell the game, hey, could you do this for me? I just kind of want to drive the car, and can you just give me the upgrades that I want? If I want better handling, how do we make that happen in this R&D tree? Do any of that? I'm not actually designing a new car. I just want to race and go fast and do the challenges that you have for me. So, I mean, again, overall, a good package, and definitely if you're interested in sort of console rally racing, this, I think, is probably your best go-to.
The WRC games have always made really good use of the PS5 controller. The haptics are really good in the WRC games.
So I've heard.
Did we lose Sam? Is he there?
Is he there?
I mean, this
Yeah, we pretty much. He's cutting out on my end.
Yeah.
for some reason
Yeah.
glitching in and out here, but it is the first game.
It is the first game.
Sorry, Sam. Well,
Sam,
we
I
tried.
think it's reconnect to Reno time.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, we've got. Oh, okay.
Is he coming back? Who knows?
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, there you are.
Yes. Okay. Geez, I have no idea what happened. Anyways, yeah, solid 7, I would say.
Oh.
If you're,
Hey!
if you're interested, definitely give it a look. But if rally racing isn't for you, or you're just kind of sort of want to dip your toe in rally racing, there's other ways to go about doing that.
Yeah.
Tell me about some of the cars. Like, so obviously they have real cars in this.
Yes. Yeah. So it's basically every city
Damn it.
in the WRC.
Uh-huh. Okay. We're losing Sam again. He's got something's chewing through his
He's
through his wires
down-
there. But no, it looks good.
WRC is downloading an update right now.
It might be. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on. Hey, we lost him anyway, so it's all good.
I mean, can I talk about a game that I was playing that's not going to be in my top 10 because
Yeah.
it
Go ahead.
just came out? I played High on Life.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, me too.
We talked about Dally. We talked about it. Oh, actually, no. We talked about it in the Discord where it was kind of running the numbers on Game Pass, which is not surprising because Game Pass is kind of in a lull at the moment, in my opinion. Where that's kind of like the big standout. That's not a cross port, or it's the actual one of the only new games that came out onto it recently. Yeah, it's 7 out of 10 material for sure,
Is it nice?
in my opinion.
Plenty of material for our.
Yeah, I mean it's enjoyable. I definitely didn't exactly like lose myself laughing at it at any point, but it is funny. I don't know how to like quite mesh those two things together, which is the fact that I found it funny, but I didn't really laugh at it that much. But like both things also happen to be true. But it is a fully competent first-person shooter. It's kind of like arena. This is like, to me, felt like the cartoon version of like Control. That was like the closest thing that came to it for me, which is that the levels are designed well. There's a lot of the same enemies over and over, which is true in Control 2. And the weapons / powers, because they're basically the same thing at the end of the day, were interesting and fun to play with, and they granted additional movement and opening up of the environments as you progress through the game. But yeah, it was fun. I played it. I didn't regret it. I probably wouldn't like.
It's the Justin Roiland and all the folks from Rick and Morty. And all
Yeah, so it's a lot of the Rick and Morty folks.
Oh, the Ricky Morty.
Ricky
guy.
Ricky Morty.
Ricky
My
Morty.
favorite singer.
That's I love the I love the he's the best part of that tag team.
All the voice acting is very good. But if you've ever watched an episode of Ricky Morty, you know the kind of like general gist of how this is gonna go. And when you're doing it for 8 hours in a row, sometimes you're like, it was never too much, but like I said, a lot of it just like starts to land kind of flat. Like, and you start to tell when it's like, oh, we're just saying fuck, or cuz now.
It kind of threads the needle between Ricky Morty and Smiling Friends in a lot of
Yeah.
Has
It's all,
the
like I
Smiling
said.
Friends guys too.
Yeah, it does. And there's it's got the Red Letter Media guys are in it.
You can watch
watch a whole movie with them, Mystery Science Theater style.
They're
Yeah.
just
In
sitting there talking.
In the game, yeah. There's
Amazing.
Oh yeah,
it's-
so that was the other thing, is that there's some excellent FMV inclusion. Part of the game is there's a human home that gets transported to not Earth, right? And so you're that house is your kind of like base of operations. So you go back there repeatedly as your like little hub. And there's a character that's always sitting there just watching television. And there is whole ass movies on there.
Like public domain movies are running like throughout this game.
It's was it Vampire Hookers is one of them.
Yep.
What was the other one?
Classic game.
My boyfriend is a T-Rex or some shit like that. I don't remember what the other one. The T-Rex is in the name. I had to look it up. A warning for the people with children: there are boobies in some of them. I know, risque. But yeah, it's fine. It's good.
We got Playland in the chat making Goodfellas jokes. Just so you can.
One of the best jokes in the game is when you first get the suit and there's a bunch of ads.
Yeah,
that was one of the better jokes. Yeah,
you keep pressing F to get.
You
rid of
literally
the ads.
actually have to press the button, or else it will overwhelm the entire screen.
Really?
There's a bunch of ads, but they're really particular like memes that if you're online a lot, you'll know like what the ads are making fun of, and they're really just like obscure. And a lot of the humor is just like super, just like it's not like mainstream, like Rick and Morty humor. It's like really, like it's really weird. Like you have to live in your basement type of humor.
It's definitely terminally online humor.
There was at one point. Really funny. I mean, I don't want to spoil the whole joke, but you ride an elevator, and he's like so one of the nice things that the guns are the characters, and like at first it sounds like really dumb. It's like, oh man, these things are just going to be talking at you the whole fucking time, and they are, but they are characters. Like yes, they're guns, but they are genuine, actual characters to it. It's not just filler content, and it works well, which is nice. And he's just talking about how like, oh man, you know what else has these types of elevators? Final Fantasy, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, I think those were only space games, so you probably don't know about them. But yeah, he just goes into this whole diatribe of every piece of media that involves an elevator. And you're just, what are we talking about? And there's a running gag about how anime is very popular in space. So they talk about anime a lot. Code Lyoko is name dropped at one point. You're like, what are we talking about? Those are the moments where it does shine, especially, I think.
Yeah.
Playland. At first I thought you were Metroidvania, but then I thought about it. The guns, as you progress, do have special effects that let you explore more of the levels as you go back to it, as well as some other pickups that you acquire. It was the Metroidvania portion of it is uninteresting to me. I didn't really want to go back to the levels. I finished the story and I'm like, I'm done. I will probably realistically never open the game again. That was it to me. You know, once the story portion of where there are characters that I interact with and things are being said back and forth, I don't need quips. I was really only interested in seeing the kind of story reach its conclusion. Yeah, going back is not required unless you really, really want to get more money and then upgrade your stuff. But yeah, so that's it. Sam, how we doing?
Hello. I heard you the whole time during that segment. So,
that's great.
Hopefully I'm still alive. I would like to comment on that since I did play like 2 hours of that.
Okay.
I disagree on level design. I think that at least early on in that game, they do a poor job of showing you where you need to go. And that is included with the button they give you that you can spam to show you exactly where you have to go.
So yeah, so the T, it's the T button on keyboard and mouse, and it leaves a marker up for approximately 0.12 seconds. It's so short, and you basically just have to keep pressing it.
There's one area early on where it tells you like you have to go into this building to find something, and it doesn't give you any indication. It was the first time I knew I could even crouch in the game. You had to knock these barrels out of the way, crouch, and go through this pipe. And then on the way out, you could just hop over the wall, which you couldn't hop over 3 seconds before. So, like, it's just some of that stuff.
I more meant that it was interesting level design, not necessarily good level design.
I don't disagree with that, but, like, for Christ's sakes, there was plenty of times where I was just staring at the screen going, where am I supposed to go right now?
High on Life needed a little bit more of the classic red ribbon game, level design, where like, oh, this is a ledge that I can always grab on because it has a red ribbon on it. That kind of motif.
The sort of Drake's Uncharted bird shit on ledges thing.
Yeah, exactly.
White paint somehow in the middle of this.
White paint, yellow, the yellow paint from Mirror's Edge, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see. What else you got?
I was going to say, with me back, is it time to do the more exciting game?
Yeah.
Please.
Yes, sir. All right, let me present this sucker. Game number 2 from Sam.
Yes.
Is a game called...
I believe it's called Lunistis. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. And there's like no one in the game says anything, so it's just text. But yes, what this is a third-person sort of platforming. I'm just kind of call it a speedrunning game. Something in the vein of a what's that game that just came out?
Neon White.
Neon White. Thank you. Yeah, so basically it presents you almost sort of Sonic level stages, and you just try to get through them. There's collectibles in it. You'll see they're picking up paper cranes. Each level has a set number of cranes, has a set number of sort of like hidden collectibles, and then you're also sort of gauged on your time. So on the onset, you're presented with your jump that does a double jump, a sort of attack, which you can also do like Mario style and use it as a third jump. And then also a button which you can hold to slow down your character in segments when platforming gets, thin and difficult, and you don't want to be going 1,000 miles per hour. But
I want to play this game on my CRT.
So of course they have the CRT filters and all that goodness in there too. I can tell you that all of it looks incredible on the Steam Deck, which is where I played most of this. It's a great little Steam Deck game. You're seeing other characters there too. Once you clear the original levels, you get access to those other characters. And I know I'm somebody that's like against using nostalgia as a means to an end. And here I can tell you that the PS1 like aesthetic, it pretty much sold me on it immediately. So
I want to play this in 480i real bad.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
So I will say it's sort of short. I completed, let's say, the first run through of the game in just about 2.5 hours, and that was going back to a couple of levels to try to get the sort of S ranks and the story quips that are at the end. But once you clear it, then you get access to those other characters. Each of them you can clear separately with the game. The great news about it being that short, though, is it's only $5 on Steam. And that's not a sale price. That's default.
Okay, well.
So, yeah.
That's a Steam Deck purchase. Thank you.
Yeah.
So as you saw, it's also on Switch. It's a solid. We may hear about it later again. Is what I'll say. This kind of blew me away, if I'm going to be honest. It's the momentum of your movement is translated so well. Like it's not like a sort of like you keep your momentum. It sort of fades away, but it like does it in such a like satisfying and understandable way. So I never felt in this game that I was jumping towards a platform and being like, I'm never going to reach that. Right? If I wasn't going to make it, it was because I did something to screw it up.
Is it this got leaderboards in it?
I do not know that. To be honest with you, I do not think it does. And the only other downside, if you're here for the story, which I'm assuming if you're seeing this and interested, that's probably not what's drawing you there. But to get the story segments, you basically have to S-clear both levels in the pair. So
that's not a problem.
Pacing overall, the game is very good. There's a couple of difficult levels that in the middle that aren't really more difficult, as more of sort of longer than the other ones. So you just have to be on the edge for longer, so it could be more tense. And of course, there's a rating system of, did you make it through the level and collect all the cranes? Did you make it through the level and not have to reset at any of the checkpoints? And what was your speed? So honestly, it's great. Again, highly recommend it. If you like what you're seeing, it's every bit as good as you think it is, and probably better. I encourage you to go track it down. Don't wait for the Steam sale. I would just get it now.
For $5,
and as I
it's kind of
said,
a gimme.
we will probably be hearing about it later on. So if you know what the next segment is, good for you. Spoilers.
No, it's cool. It has some really nice like retro visuals in there. And it reminds me of good PlayStation 1.
God, I want to see it with genuine scan lines, man.
Yeah, get yourself
dude.
an HDMI downscaler and
There you
throw it
go.
onto a CRT.
Very good. All right. So that's what you've been playing for review. Anybody else playing anything that they want to touch on? I know Zach, you just got a PS5.
Yeah, I did.
Zach, we want to talk about Dwarf Fortress now or later?
We can talk about it later. It's going to be in both of our list, I assume. So we can just
Yeah, but do we want to do we want to have like the what we've been playing discussion or the game of the year discussion about it?
They're both the same discussions
All right.
for me. So.
That's fine. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Then I think that's it.
Okay. I think
Unless somebody else has got some.
I've been playing Midnight Suns. That's
okay. Tell me about Midnight Suns.
It's a cool game. If I didn't just start it yesterday.
Okay, then we won't really talk about this much. We'll talk more next week. I think,
yeah,
when we do our 2023 prediction episode. But.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into our major segment, which is Christmas cookie recipes. Now,
yes.
I know you guys want to do. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, you chill the dough. That's the secret.
Chill the dough.
Good.
No, we're gonna talk about our games of our GOTY of the year our GOTY 22 of the year 2022 of our Lord. And we got
22 GOTYs of the year.
It's been a pretty, it's been an interesting year, I think, because
it's been a weird year.
It's been a weird year. It's been a weird year. My Jennifer Coolidge impression. It's been a weird year.
It sucks. Don't do it.
It really sucks. No, and so it started off with a lot of hype. We had like just big release first couple months, Elden Ring, Kirby, blah blah blah, and then after that, it really tapered off. But at least in AAA releases, it tapered off because indie games, classic games, remakes, reboots, those came on strong, and I think you're going to see some of that kind of stuff that is in our list here. So we've asked the team to give us their 5 favorite games of the year. You can always add in. I know we tend to throw in.
Definitely didn't add in anything other than that.
That's fine.
Me and Zach got you covered. Don't worry. We can really pad out
we're going to try to keep this to moving pretty quickly through us, but I already know, Zach and JJ have the nice dissertations, and Taylor and Sam and I are like, we're actually doing our PowerPoints and our videos right now. But
a good joke. PowerPoint.
Yeah, PowerPoint.
What? Was it Google Slides? Is that what it's called? But I did want to go ahead and kick us off. Start talking about the GOTYs. Who wants to? Were you gonna say something, JJ?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, no. Let's get started. And I'm gonna say either JJ or Zach. You guys arm wrestle. Who wants to go first?
You want to flip a coin, JJ?
Do you have a coin?
I'll Google it. Coin flipper.
Okay.
I was gonna say, or you could just do how many fingers is Dolly holding up?
No. Okay, you pick, JJ.
Tails.
Okay, let's flip. That's Tails.
All right. Tails
it
is. So we can just add mine to the stream here.
There we go.
I'll just make it full screen. So yeah, I did it yearbook style. So
love it.
Really fun.
It's so stupid.
It gets worse.
It gets worse.
I did these are just we'll just snap through these real quick because this is not the top 5. This is the back half of just some of the other games that I enjoyed. The Atari 50 collection I thought was a really, really
such
good
a great collection.
Most likely to succeed in changing future of collections. It's just It's perfect for just the history of Atari. A lot of the games aren't great, but it doesn't matter just because the collection's like superb. Number 9, Class Clown 2022 Trombone Champ. I fucking love this game. It's fun to play. It's charming as hell. It's goofy as hell. The story mode in it is absurd, and
It sounds like doo-doo.
Yeah, and it sounds so bad, man. It is, but it makes me laugh every time.
That's how trombone like actually sounds.
Yeah,
It is not.
Listen, there's good trombone players.
It is not what
Is there?
trombone sounds.
Unreal. Prove it.
Next up, everybody else's game of the year 2022, Elden Ring. I love this game. It's the first one of this type of game that I've ever played that I've actually enjoyed and have seen through to completion. So it's just not a top 5 for me because it's really not my bag in any way, shape, or form. But I still really enjoyed it, and I know everyone else loved it too. Most likely to not be a false prophet. Cult of the Lamb.
I forgot about this game.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I love this game.
It was a lot of fun.
I've bought it twice. I got it on the Switch. Then it runs like poo poo on the Switch. So now I have it played on the Steam Deck.
I was gonna say it plays great on Steam Deck.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, love this game. Cute and horrifying. I love the art design of everything in this game. It's so phenomenal. The JJ Award of Outstanding Achievement in Windjamming is Windjammers 2. My number 6 game of the year. I mean, it's Windjammers. I talked it up. I've made a big meme out of it on this show. I really do enjoy this game. It's very funny. If you play it on the Switch and you try to go online, you never get connected with anybody. But you go on Steam, you're gonna get some players.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure all it'll be fair and even and balanced.
Yeah.
All 6 of them.
Now we're actually into what I consider the top 5. So my number 5 game of the year is Neon White. Oh, one of my images broke. That sucks. Just like a real yearbook. I fucking love Neon White. It's when I sit down and play it, it just hooks me in, and it's like the old it activates that part of my brain that Trials activated on the 360, where it's just like you see the leaderboard and you see that you're like, I'm only 2 seconds off. I can shave that 2 seconds. I can beat Eric. I can fucking do this. I gotta go. And,
Yeah, man. Fuck Eric, dude.
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
I hate that guy.
But yeah, I absolutely just was, and it's I like the aesthetic of this game a hell of a lot. It's got a good half anime, half comic book kind of thing going on for it. So
Love everything about this game. I love the soundtrack. The
It's
soundtrack is so good.
So good. It's everything just motivates you to just want to jump back in and just like, I can do better.
I also think the writing is good. People say it's bad, but I think it's pretty freaking good.
It's good. It's cringy, but but that's the point. So it's well written for that. So yeah, no, definitely Neon White's one of my absolute favorites of the year. Number 4, Sonic Frontiers, baby.
God damn it.
I knew it. Damn it.
God damn it.
I am not kidding when I say I absolutely fell in love with this game.
You know it's always good when it starts with "I'm not kidding."
Yeah, yeah. It was one of those things where I gave it 0 chance, and once I actually jumped into this thing and started playing it, like it's so weird.
It's so bad.
Yeah,
I'm excited to try it someday.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing to exist in such a weird fucking game, man. And I love it for it. It's Sonic slowly dying throughout the game is super funny. I don't know what it is.
The only redeeming quality to it by the sounds of it.
Yeah. But like it's like actually my least favorite part of the game is like the levels. Like, I want out of these. I want to do more exploring on these crazy maps and just going fucking sick.
What are you talking about?
I know it seems weird, but without playing it, it's hard to explain how good it feels to like explore the open world segments of this. I don't know. I don't know what it is. This game talks to my soul in a weird way, which really says a lot more about me than the game itself. I realize that, but I don't care. Sonic Frontiers, love it. Number 3, Gran Turismo 7.
Okay.
What can I say about Gran Turismo 7 other than it's just a really good, solid racing game that looks beautiful, and I know Sam, I think, is the only person here that's really put any time in the Gran Turismo 7.
Nice car choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know,
this.
Yeah, Dally designed this one. Yeah. It's the 25th anniversary of Gran Turismo, and right now they've got like a 25th anniversary stuff going on in game. And I've been playing Gran Turismo since the start, and this one just finally feels like back to the PlayStation 1 days, where it really is just, all right, you know, you got your little overworld map, you're setting up, you're buying your cars, you're going in the races, you're, you know, grinding away, getting money and licenses. And I'm not much of a grinder in games, but for whatever reason, wanting to get more money to upgrade my car and get better cars and stuff. I don't know. The grind for Gran Turismo really just does it for me.
How much real life money did you spend on credits?
I have spent no real life money on credits, but I outside of buying the outside. I wish I could. I did buy the deluxe edition of the game, which came with a shit ton of credits and a bunch of cars out the gate. So that real life money on top, like, so, you know, the extra $20 to get the collector's edition, I guess. But I haven't
way out of this one.
Yeah, but I will not spend money for real human being money for digital money in Gran Turismo. I am competent enough at this racing game that I can just earn credits pretty well, and they've kind of they fixed the scaling issue a little bit, because remember, they fucked that whole thing up out the gate. They
yes sir,
yeah, through patches and stuff, they've kind of walked some of it back. It's still not great, but it's still fine. I'm having no problems just earning money to keep going. So yeah. Number 2, Demon Throttle.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this game's funny. It plays really well, and this is my era of gaming that I love to talk about on this show, kind of thing. Like, it plays so much like an old NES game, and I love the idea of an NES game that's also a roguelite. Like, I just get slightly better every time I play it, learning patterns and just going through it, and I love the idea of it being physical only. It's just kind of like, yeah, why not? Just they
Purist.
made they just made what they wanted to make, and it came out great. I don't know how to talk about this game without like just reciting the same thing over and over again. I just love the look of it. I love the way it plays. I love the writing. It's absolutely second. Do we want to? I do have a video. Does audio play on this? Oh, we ruined it. Anyways, my best game of the year is, it's not loading.
Of course not loading.
Yeah, of course. It was working perfectly fine earlier. Anyways, game of the year, Vampire Survivor. I'm going to go back and I'm going to drop the video that I made into the screen in a minute, just because I can.
Yep. Go ahead. You know how to do it.
But Vampire Survivors is the game that I have played absolutely the most of this year, bar none. And I'm still playing it. It's so simple. It's so dumb. and I love it. I love everything about this game. It's the same neon white thing where it's just like, yeah, I could put in I can do another 15 minutes in this, but why not? I got time. And then it's just another 15 minutes, another 15 minutes, another 15 minutes. But, yeah, I don't know if, has everyone played Vampire Survivors on this? Vampire Survivor by this point?
Yeah.
Have you played the phone version of Vampire Survivor?
No.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
That's where I've been playing it a lot, and I would love to add it on my list. I just haven't devoted enough time. It's my new play while rendering game.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just trying to get this.
He's killing. He's vamping right now.
I'm vamping right now. Yeah, I'm just running it.
Don't look, I'm vamping.
Yeah.
Don't look.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I can.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's perfect.
Share a tab. Share.
Playland says Vampire Survivors is from last year. It is.
No, 1.0 came out this year.
Go. And also
There
the
you
mobile
go.
version.
Yeah. So we've got our little memorial video.
Oh, good lord.
Remembering all of those that we lost in 2022. You can go, Taylor. I don't care.
Did you make this video?
I did. This is actually.
Beautiful.
I made sure that all of the slides hang on just a little bit too much to be sad, and it's mostly just all of the.
These are all games that were going to be your GOTY.
Yeah, games that were designed to come out this year. That
Great.
everything's been delayed or canceled or died horrible deaths. So I think we just need a moment. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. The year of 20. This goes for the entire song, by the way.
Nice. Keep it going.
That's a lot of games, dog.
I didn't.
And YouTube Live right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're getting. Actually, just so you know, this is on my private YouTube channel, and I did get the copyright claim on it, but it says it doesn't affect anything because they gave use to use it for YouTube videos.
Got it.
So, yeah, it's. We're just gonna keep sitting through this. I was gonna.
Next week we're going to be doing our predictions for 2020.
How long is this?
The entirety of the song. It is 4 minutes, baby.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long the song is off the top of my head, JJ.
It is. We're at a minute and a half with 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I don't know why I kept it on Company of Heroes 3 for so long, but I did, and I thought it was funny. Yeah, I was really. They gave me 2 pins at PAX West.
What a shill.
Yeah. Also, to make sure the song was as crunchy as possible, there's the Avatar game. That's coming out in 2024 now.
That was supposed to come out this year?
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's Redfall, everyone's favorite. This all leads up to just one bad joke, so it's already a bad joke, but
it really is a bad joke. But
how is Skull and Bones still not out?
Right?
To cancel the game, dog.
Yeah. It's the Suicide Squad game with Samoa Joe as King Shark.
Plan says, "Did you close the stuff with?" He already had that in there. That was in there. Advance Wars. That game's never coming out.
No.
Come on, guys. Not until. No, I'm not getting it.
Not until war is over.
Oh man.
The true loss.
The
true loss. True.
Yeah.
Rival. And the snitch. Oh, and he's wearing the shirt.
Oh no.
All right, yeah, that's the and that's my in memorial 2022 video of the year. It just hangs on this for like another 30 seconds or so. So
as it should.
Yeah.
It should. Because it's
I mean,
Aaron.
he died during the Game Awards, if you'll remember.
He did actually. Yeah.
There we go.
Playland says, "Hot, yeah, go away."
Oh Unreal.
Good
So,
stuff, man.
Good stuff. So yeah, Vampire Survivors is my favorite game of the year. And,
Okay, you actually listed a favorite. I don't have a true favorite. I just kind of
no,
jumbled them all together.
everything. The top 5 were in order too, so
Okay.
that's how I felt.
Well, let's go on to Zach, because Zach also has a PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Zach has
Mine's not as good as JJ's. So,
JJ's stepping it
You
up.
don't have a 4-minute copyrighted song?
Okay, how do I get my thing up here?
here I'll add it.
8.
There
And
we-
now you can
there
just see
you
the little
go.
arrow there. You can click next slide.
Okay.
GOTY of the year. Let's go, baby.
GOTY of the year 2022 in the year of our Lord.
Using a comma.
Yeah, just like how,
2022.
Just like in the
Just like the
Bible.
Bible says. Yeah.
yeah. Honorable mentions. Here we go. They're not as cool as JJ's. This isn't like a yearbook thing. But these are the honorable mentions of the year.
I do
starting
want.
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Starting
Okay.
out heavy here with the Hatsune Miku Project Diva Mega Mix Plus. Yeah, it's just a really good rhythm game. Amazing music.
I went and bought this after you talked about it on the show for your review.
Yeah.
And
What makes this version plus? The last version I remember was just like you had to buy 2 different packs that were like a bunch of songs from past games.
Yeah, that's what this is.
one is plus. No. No, the plus means it has all those versions in one place now.
Yeah.
So you don't have to buy the 2 versions, and it's also on PC, which is where I played it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thanks for the reminder. I just added it to my wish list so that I can buy it when it's on sale.
It plays well on the Steam Deck, by the way.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good like emulation of an arcade game, of like an arcade rhythm game. So it has really not loose timings for it. It has really tight timings for your rhythms and stuff. So yeah, it's really good. It requires you to actually like pay attention and play. And the music, there's like 300 songs. So I mean, you're never gonna get bored with it. Yeah. That one's in there. Tactics Ogre Reborn is my next one. This one moves so much up and down my list. But yeah, Tactics Ogre Reborn is a love letter to the Tactics Ogre community from the developers. Not completely remade, but they did a lot of twists and additions to the core gameplay, and they like redid the visuals and the music and put it out on all the modern consoles. And they added stuff that was cut from the last 2 versions, and they added voice acting as well in Japanese and English. There's a lot of stuff they did for this game, and it sold pretty well in Japan, and it sold pretty well over here. So well, as in like 100,000 copies, which is
Pretty good for a niche tactical RPG.
Yeah, and yeah, it's the beginning of the Ivalice Final Fantasy Tactics kind of thing. Is kind of where it all started. I guess it's fun to see those origins here. And yeah, it's a really amazing story. Really Shakespearean. That's just how this guy writes his games. They're all very like stage play type of feeling. So they're very different. But yeah, they're amazing, fun, tactical games. Neon White, it moved. It was up there in my top 5 and it dropped down.
Wow.
But Neon White, yeah, I mean JJ pretty much already said all the things you can say about it, but I really think the biggest takeaway is the soundtrack is just amazing. It's by the amazing artist named Machine Girl. They are a noise pixel punk pop group that I've been a fan of for forever. It's the only reason I was even interested in this game was because of them. And yeah, they did 2 albums for this, and they just kind of knocked it out the park. And it fits the game. It's one of those games where it's like, if the soundtrack was any different, the game wouldn't be the same. Like if the soundtrack was not what it is now, then the game would kind of suck. Like that's just kind of how it feels. It's such a huge part of everything. Just really hammers in the aesthetic and the vibes. The next, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This game is amazing. Number 7 in my top 10 of the year isn't really, a bad spot. Stefan's here, hey. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is, it's the best Xenoblade Chronicles game. It's Nintendo's most mature game to date, and that's kind of funny saying that when Bayonetta exists, but Bayonetta really isn't that mature compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 handles a lot of interesting topics that we don't usually see on the Switch console. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but it's definitely the best amalgamation of all the systems and stories and things we've experienced in that series. Yeah, so very much recommend checking that out if you like the Xenoblade Chronicles games, or even just like JRPGs, you want a game to play on a Switch. Definitely check that out.
I just finished Xenoblade 2 this year, went back into it, and really enjoyed it. So I'm actually really hyped for 3. So I own
3, it. Yeah, 3 it's surprisingly mature, like I was saying, but like all the characters are, I don't know, they don't do anything stupid. They're like actually like smart people trying to survive in this situation that they're in. Which is I love when JRPGs do that, where the characters are actually like smart, real people who aren't these like caricatures. They're you get to see characters you fall in love with do horrible things and die and just a bunch of things, and it's just really riveting. And
the biggest thing between 2 and 3 to me is that characters care if they live or die. The Xenoblade Chronicles 2, as fun as it was just like, we're cartoons, we know we're gonna live forever, bye.
Yeah, and this is like the core story is like, hey, you only live for this amount of years, you're gonna die in this amount of months, good luck. Like, that's just kind of like the main struggle. And it's interesting to see how these characters deal with that and how the story evolves outside of that. So yeah, very good story hook, very good game. Characters are amazing. There's even like a nude scene in the game that isn't like played like sexually. It's just like they're just taking a bath because they just got done fighting, and there's like no like zoom ins or anyone being like, oh my gosh, boobies. It's just like they're just soldiers taking a bath, and that's just that really sets the tone going forward. But yeah, good game. And then we can go in here. This game didn't come out this year, and I don't care. Dragon Quest X. I've been playing a lot of this game, this Japanese-only MMORPG with a bunch of English players, with a bunch of software people been making, communities working together, huge community effort, blah, blah, blah. So much fun. The story's genuinely really good. It's one of the best recent Dragon Quest stories, which is saying a lot. It's like familiar. It like feels like a Dragon Quest like 4 or 5. So if you're a Dragon Quest fan, you know what that means. And yeah, it's just a good, ever expanding, constantly growing game. And I just love Dragon Quest, so that's here. And the tools that the community has made, Clarity and Akmon, are these tools that translate the games. There's people hand translating the story, menus, weapons, all these things, so you can play it in English and experience the wonderful Dragon Quest X. So now we're gonna go into the top 5. These are, I think, the games this year were really good. The ones that were good were exceptionally good, because even my honorable ones I could have put in my top 5. Even all these top 5
different
games,
year.
Yeah, like these top 5 games I have could easily be in the first spot. It could be the best game of the year, but there's one I feel personally connected to that I put in my first spot. But yeah, gaming this year was crazy. But let's go into this. We got number 5, Tunic. Oh, Taylor. I know. Sorry. But Tunic. So Tunic is. It's. it's a Zelda game, but it's a Zelda game in the essence of a Souls game. You know, how you just kind of explore, go around, just kind of figure out things as you go. Tunic takes it to a level of you don't speak the language in this world, and you're walking around discovering the language, and discovering that via like instruction cover booklets from the game itself. It gets really meta towards the end, and even the beginning. It's pretty just like it's pretty meta, and the love the development team put into the game is crazy. There are layers upon layers upon layers of answers, gameplay, mechanics. Everything is kind of cohesively works together. The game uses its camera perspective actively to encourage you to like find different paths in that Dark Souls way, where it's like you're going through something, you find a door, like, oh, this is at the beginning, but this is like, oh, this camera angle was intentionally hiding this path from me via this tree, that if I just go back here, I'm at the boss I just fought that took me like 20 hours to get to, or whatever, you know. It's just really interesting gameplay design, and all these things I'm saying now apply to Elden Ring. So whenever I show Elden Ring next, just think of what
whenever I show it next.
So just think about what I said about Tunic and put it in here, and just add that I really do think Elden Ring and Tunic are kind of the same game. They are interestingly, they're the most video games of the year. I think they're very elbows deep, kind of just play it, experience it, learn it. The first 2 weeks of Elden Ring, I think, playing with my friends and just with y'all and discovering things was a magical time. Just like walking up to people, just be like, hey, where's this thing? Or like, I don't even know what that is. Like, how do I get this? Like, oh wait, I know where that is. It's just like that whole discussion and just discovery period was amazing. I'll never forget that. It's just reminded me of like playing a really good game with friends. You know, it's super great. So Elden Ring number 4. Number 3 is Dwarf Fortress. I think Dwarf Fortress might be like honestly the best game ever created, just due to like all the things that it can do. I think the way to access the game now is a lot easier, yes, but it's still pretty difficult to get into. Yeah. And it took Taylor a couple of hours to be like, oh, okay, this is what this game is. And it's a game that doesn't care that you exist, which I really like. It's just like it asks you to make all the things for the dwarves, but the dwarves just kind of do their own thing. And you can make them do what you want them to do. Like, hey, I kind of want this guy to, like, I don't know, bathe in some blood or something, or like dive off this cliff. And you can do that, or you can just sit there and like watch them do it. And just like, you can sit there and just watch them work and do their own thing, eat and drink, and just naturally see what they want to do.
Well, it's been some of the weirdest part of Dwarf Fortress for me has been, like, you know, the one of the main UI elements is how happy all the dwarves are. And obviously you want the dwarves to be happy, because then they do shit for you and they work harder. Because that's how they made this game. So I've been checking on that. This is one dwarf that I have, because I've been playing a lot of Dwarf Fortress as well. And she's always unhappy. Always pissed off.
I love you're like, there's this one dwarf that I have.
But like literally that's
dwarf indentured servant that I own.
But that is the power of this game, is the way that I just described it is part of the potency of what makes Dwarf Fortress what it is.
Sure.
Because like there's 180 dwarves in my little fortress. But I know about this one. And I know why she's mad. It's because like 4 years ago, I denied a petition to build a temple for the religion that she liked. There's a temple now, and she's still mad. She's still in her little thought history says, I'm still angry about that one time the petition was denied. and that affects literally every other thing that character does. It's incredible.
So like every time you start a world in this game, it generates history, and it generates factions and fights and war over certain things and it makes weapons and items that people like to use, and just more things on top of that, and then it generates hundreds of gods and cultures and all these things, and then you get to just be this dumbass sitting there like and like things just happen. But like, for example, like what Taylor was saying, that can happen. Or like with me, my guys were just sad, and I like looked at their thought history as like they wanted they all wanted their own personal statues of this god named Unde or something, and it's like some female dwarf, and it's like they all wanted their own miniature female dwarf statues. So I had to make my guys go and make their own statues, and then they grabbed them and put them in their rooms. And I don't know what they're doing with those statues, but they're happy now. But it's like that's just like a random thing that can happen. That might not happen in any other game. Yeah. But it's just there. It's just like the magnitudes of like details and things that happen that are just generated constantly is just crazy.
Those statues are just like, you saw the movie The Lighthouse. That's what
yeah, they're just it's the same it's the same thing. And then then those dwarves eventually had kids, and those kids were mad because they didn't have their own rooms. And then I made their own rooms, and they still were never happy because I made them be the haulers. So they're just like hauling shit all the time.
The monkey paw curls.
But also like I have dwarves that grew up, and they're still mad because they remember feeling embarrassed about the fact that they had no clothes because they were an infant that didn't wear clothes. Like you just But yeah,
it's stuff like that where it's like you look in, like you like find a random raccoon on the map. You're like, I'm gonna see what this guy's thinking, and it's like he is really nice. He loves letting people know his thoughts. And it's like the fact that there's a random raccoon that my guy's gonna come up here and kill. That he has his own thoughts and his own patterns, his own culture, basically. Is just like. It's nuts. And there's just so much that you can do, so much you run into, the problem solving that you need to figure out is so fun.
Zach, did your fortress ever run into honey badgers?
No.
So I am in a biome, I guess, where there's honey badgers, and them motherfuckers are up in everybody's business all the time. They just attack everything on sight. I've killed dozens of honey badgers because they will not leave me the fuck alone.
No, my thing is one of my fortresses, we had 2 dogs and they just kept breeding like nonstop.
No, that's me with cats right now. I got like 40 cats.
We had I had like 50 dogs, and I had to butcher them and like skin them. So like my guys were walking around with like dog leather armor, and it's like because that was my only it's fun. And that became like the trader comes every year before winter time, so you can like trade, and then he brings it back to the capital. And like so like my fortress was known for the dog like armor. So like they come back, it's like, do you have any more dog armor? It's like, yeah, dude, here's some more. Yeah. So the Dwarf Fortress, that's just number 3. But yeah, number 1 and 2 are, I mean, we're not going to show the first one yet, but number 2 is Pentiment. Pentiment is...
Ooh.
Yeah,
esoteric.
Is esoteric, but esoteric in the sense of like, you have to know 16th century Christian historical lore to like understand.
Luckily, I've been practicing.
Luckily, the game itself provides you a lexicon and lets you know what everything means. But the amount of research and depth the story goes to stay historically accurate to the times of, hey, the great, like, Martin Luther just nailed his theses to the door. The church is changing. All these new ideas are coming around, and you're a artist who lives in an abbey, and you're from school. So you're an educated man. So you're aware of all these things. The depth of knowledge, that the game gives you, but also the depth the characters are able to go because of the knowledge the game gives you is so interesting because you're able to have philosophical debates back and forth with characters about religion, about life, about children, about everything, just anything that pops up. And that alone is enough to make a game really good. But on top of this, Pentiment is a murder mystery. There is a deacon or Duke comes down, and he is an educated guy. He has a painting that one of the guys there is doing at the church, and he comes there to check up on it, and eventually he brings up Martin Luther's theses, blah blah blah, and he ends up dead. So the church is like, hey, you're a smart guy and you can actually leave the abbey, so you go investigate this murder because you're not a priest. So you go investigate this murder and hang out with the peasants, and you go hang out with the peasants, and the peasants are like, yeah, we hate the church, they're taxing us, we don't have enough money for food, blah blah. So you get to learn about the economic structure and lives of all these peasants and people within this town, Tassing, and it's just so well done. And the gameplay takes place over 25 years, so you get to see the place grow and change according to who you help, who you talk to, who you convict for the murder, and all these different things. And it's just so engrossing. It is so well written. It is phenomenal. It sticks to the aesthetic of the time, so it's like these like woodblock painting aesthetic, amazing. And then you press the select button, and the camera will zoom out to a book where you can like access a map and a glossary of all the characters in the game. And it's just, but it's like a real book from the time period, and you're also sitting in like a painting room, kind of like the cover, and it's just like, yeah, it's just so interesting. But the game takes place over 25 years, and what is amazing about it is you are tasked with finding the murderer in the first time, and then 7 years later there's another killing that happens. And no matter who you choose, you're choosing the wrong guy, right? So no matter who, you can't ever find the right guy in the first two. That's just how the game's set up. That's just how the character arc goes. Your guy just is kind of like, I messed up, I picked the wrong guy both times. And you can pick from like 5 or 6 different characters each time, so that determines and changes the trajectory of the game. And then later on, you play as a different character. In the third act, you play as a different character. I'm not going to say who it is, but there's another murder that happens, but you get to actually find the real guy. And it's just, it comes together so well. And it rewards you for paying attention and treating it with respect. It's a really in-depth 23-hour game. Yeah, and Xbox produced it. So if you want to play something cool, play Pentiment. Yeah, and then...
Man, I can't believe that God of War Ragnarok is your game of the year, dog.
Last of Us Chapter 1 remake.
You guys have been wondering, where is Vampire Survivors on this list? And it's not here because there's Norco. Norco is it's a special game. The background to this is so important, and it's a personal story for the writer of the game, but also for me. It takes place in Norco, Louisiana, which is in the South, obviously. But I'm from the South. I'm from an area similar to this, so a lot of the vistas and things you see in the game are things that I see and experience every day. So that alone is really just a lightning bolt for me, because I love where I'm from. I love my heritage, and I love here. So seeing a game that kind of approaches the things that I see every day, like just there's always constantly like construction, there's always there's always capital over people, there's always these very interesting, oil rigs and things popping up. And Norco in this game is in the Cancer Belt, which is like from Mississippi to Louisiana. It's called the Cancer Belt because most people who live in the Cancer Belt get cancer and die. It's because of oil refineries and fires and all those things that kind of run through these neighborhoods, all these oil refineries and things. And it's very similar to where I'm from. There's a lot of industry that takes place over in my neck of the woods. There's a train that goes through where I live every day. There's a warehouse being built across the street. There's oil refineries a couple blocks down. I grew up in a trailer park that had oil refineries behind it. It's just like it's me. It's like where I grew up. And seeing that put into a video game was really shocking, but also just the writing on top of that with the characters and how much they reflect and resemble people that I know and have experienced in my life, or just situations of just like people just lost and like having faith in God but losing faith because of everything around them, or a situation that they're going through, or finding God through struggles. It's just really interesting. And Norco was able to put this like really interesting twist on it, where it's like it's in the cyberpunk dystopian kind of future, and you're a character named Kay. You come back home to Norco because your mother just passed away from cancer, and you're just kind of rediscovering home. You're kind of rediscovering everything because you've been gone for a couple of years, and while you're gone, your mom got sick and she died. And when you come home, your brother is gone, and that kind of is like, okay, let's find my brother. That's kind of the inherent story hook. But also, this is another reason why the game kind of hits really close to home. Home for me is the flip side of the game. You play as Kay's mother as she is slowly dying from her cancer. So she is doing kind of these like quests that she's got on an app that gives her Bitcoin, basically. And she does all these small little quests. So she's trying to make enough money so she can upload her consciousness to a hard drive to give to her daughter so she can have it after she's gone. And she's poor. She's trying to figure out a way to do that. So you get to play through her in the last couple weeks of her life, and just seeing how, it really hit close to home in a personal way. A lot of personal things in this game. But the story is so well conceived, thought of, and is able to address societal things and personal problems that I have, and just it's just a once in a lifetime type of game. I've never experienced anything like it, because it hit in a perfect time in my life where I'm going through a lot of these things that this game presents. It's 4 hours long. It's beautiful. It's really kind of, it grays the lines of reality and like fiction, and it's just a really good like Southern Gothic cyberpunk like game. And even without all this like personal attachment to it, the game's still really good. There's a lot of people that I've read reviews from or watched things on that aren't even from where I'm from or have the experiences that I have, that are like, this game is amazing. But there's so many people that are like me who have the same experiences as me and are saying the same things that I'm saying, like, oh my gosh, like I've never played something that just kind of resonates with where I grew up and who like I am, or a thing I've experienced in my life. So Norco is there because of that. It's a great game. Just play it in one sitting if you ever get the time. But yeah, that is it. And here's like, this is just from the game. And it's kind of like a corner store where I'm from. Like this could be at the corner of my street if I just walked outside. It's one of my favorite areas in the game because it's like, oh, this is like home. Norco is amazing. That is my number one. And that'll be all from me.
Awesome
So-
list. Awesome list.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go.
All right,
And-
How do I
Sam.
get rid of my thing?
There you go. Let's see if I can find add Google Slides here. I'm gonna go, and then we got Sam after me. So let's see if this works out.
And then Taylor just leaves.
Taylor.
And then I'm just going to be gone. I'm going to be asleep.
All right. So processing. Now I don't know if the audio will or the video will show up or the audio will show up in these, but we'll give it a shot. So here is mine. The delicious GOTY 22 with Dolly from the SideQuest. That's me.
I like how you had to write with Dolly.
Yeah. He says, "Let's go." All right.
Originally, he had
Go.
presented it as I
Happy
was
birthday,
presenting it.
year. It's the year's birthday. It turns let's see. According to the calendar, reality is 2022 years old, almost 2023 years old. There was nothing before that. So happy birthday, year. Anyways, these games did not make it, but they could have because they were fantastic. Evil West, I just finished a review on. Love the stupidity of that game. It's so fun and great visuals and just great controls. It's an awesome palate cleanser. Splatoon 3 on the other side is Splatoon 2 is great. Splatoon 3 is way more technical, I feel, in terms of a lot of the online battle stuff. And I loved it. I just felt as if it was almost weird to say it. Splatoon 3 is almost too much. Like there is too much stuff in Splatoon 3.
Agreed.
They have a freaking like card game in it now. And so it just adds a bunch of more stuff. Anyway, it's still a great game. And then Elden Ring, I had kind of turned the corner on Elden Ring some point during the year when I finally got into the idea of Souls-likes and roguelikes and kind of the mashup of those two.
Went back and did the tutorial.
Went back and did the tutorial. I walked right past it. It was not designed well. But no, I did definitely enjoy Elden Ring. It was just, it's such a massive game, and I'm just going to continue playing it. I'm like chipping away at it little by little. But it was so massive that it was almost overwhelming, I think, and that's potentially why it ended up not, being what my top 5. Anyways, time for my top 5. These are going to be in no particular order, so let's go into my top 5.
Ugh.
Again, no particular
Let's
order.
go.
Curse to Golf. Come back here. Curse to Golf.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. Really enjoyed this game. Lots of fun. It's a real simple premise, but it's executed really well. And it's the kind of game that we played it at PAX East, and it finally came out, and I think it earned an award at PAX East from us. And it came out, and both Taylor and I had codes for it, and we had a good chat about it. It's such a nice, laid-back type of game that it succeeds on what it's trying to do, which is to create this golf game, which is not a golf game. It's more of like a 2D tactical style thing. But it's got a really cute story, great premise, and it works. So
Also a great Steam Deck game.
I was going to say great Steam Deck game, like fantastic Steam. You want to play this on a portable device, Steam Deck or Switch. You want to play it on one of those two devices because that's what this is definitely designed for. I do think they're going to come out with an iOS version. They have to at some point because it feels like it's perfect for mobile as well. How you control stuff. But yeah, it's good, real good game. Yeah, sorry I spoiled it. Tunic, great game. I'm a Zelda fanatic, and I battled between this and Elden Ring, actually, but I think it was. And this is on Game Pass. Is it still on Game Pass? I think.
Yeah.
It might still be.
It is.
It scratches this weird itch for this adventure game that it pushes you to think you're on the right path, but then you realize you've been making bad decisions the whole time when you've been like traveling around and doing some of the adventuring, that it's devious in certain ways. And people talk about the difficulties in the game and how there's a pretty big difficulty arc that happens. But I appreciate that because you learn right away how to utilize different tools that they give you and different weapons and stuff, and then you apply them, and they get there's like a parabolic curve of how complex some of these things get, and then you realize that you're almost overthinking some things, and that's when you actually start solving some of the puzzles in the game. But I really do love it, and I love the whole idea of the the booklet concept as well. Anyways, next game. Marvel Snap, the game I've probably played the most this year. Since it came out, I'm going to guess I've probably got, I don't know, hundreds of hours into Marvel Snap. Johnny and I are pretty addicted to this.
Weeping for all of the other good games.
Yeah. No, it's so easy to play. And I think that's what really makes it enjoyable for me, in that I am normally crappy at card games, but this isn't necessarily a card game. It's a card game because you're collecting cards, but it's played more like a very fun. It's like Marvel Uno in a weird way, and I think that or Marvel War. You guys played War. It's more War than it is like an actual collectible card game. But I think it just plays so easy, and it's so simple to get into that And I love developing the different strategies. Like Johnny and I will post all the different types of decks that we're using and modifying the Agatha casino deck that he calls it and stuff like that. But I'm going to end up eventually being bored of this, and it could happen a lot quicker than I anticipate, because you get to a point where you're like, okay, I figured it out. Unless they start actually adding PvP or like quests, like SideQuests or SideQuests, the game's going to end up becoming pretty quick to bottom of my iOS deck. But at the same time, I'd love to see a physical version of this game come out, because that could actually be kind of cool. Collectible version. Imagine all those variants. And Kirby, my boy Kirby's on there, because it's just a fun, chill game that you don't need to don't need to worry much about Kirby. In this case, yes. the change to Kirby into a 3D Mario, was it Mario 3D World aesthetic, I think worked so well in this that it's in a weird way, it's essentially moving Kirby closer and closer to like top tier Nintendo franchises, right up there with like Mario. Very close to that, I think, because it's go ahead, JJ.
I'm gonna say thank you for using the same picture twice.
Yeah, I didn't. The one on the left is the video, but if I click the video, it just goes to the next one, so it didn't work. Okay. So, yeah. But no, it's just so perfectly put together. It's a cohesive game. I mean, it's got this bizarre post-apocalyptic world to it, and it's got seriously good boss battles in this game. Like the final boss battle is actually a lot of fun. In how many phases it goes through. So, and there's tons of secrets too. Like they throw codes at you. You build up a town in there. I've gone back in and kind of replayed this several times. I mean, it definitely gets that it scratches that Mario itch that we haven't had like a true Mario game since Odyssey. So, but this definitely hits that. So yeah, I loved it. Kirby was a great game. And finally, again, the video won't play, but Vampire Survivors. The whole reason for me, when I started playing it on Steam Deck, I think that's when my mind flipped on a Steam Deck, and I thought, holy shit, this is perfect on the Steam Deck, because it's the kind of game you can pick up and play, and by the time the Steam Deck battery runs out in about 40 minutes, you have already played enough to enjoy it. And it's super cheap. It's free on mobile, and it is a horrible bathroom game, because you think you're only going to be in there for like, a minute or two, and the next thing you know, you've been playing Vampire Survivors and upgrading, and it's like it's gone way too far, and your family's trying to get a hold of you. But it's just such a good game, such a simple game. Great job at using Unity assets to the developers, and just literally, it's like almost face slapping at how come nobody thought of this before, type of thing, because it's so effortless in what it does. And yeah, it's really rough around the edges. I'm not gonna say it's not, but God, it's just so addicting.
I keep trying to play it as a twin stick shooter, which is always very funny.
No, I was saying last week when Taylor and I were chatting, there's a point that you can get to this game where you can kind of let it play by itself, and it's satisfying because you've built up your powers enough that when it goes off on its own, it's kind of fun to watch this dude just take and you start unlocking the different characters. It just I don't know. It's really nice.
It's really fun when you can just stop moving.
Yeah, it's just so nice. You're like, I'm gonna sit here for a little bit and see how many of these swarms I can take. Oh, there's a big swarm of bats. I got this covered. Oh, there's a big swarm of skeletons. Got that covered. It's really nice and satisfying for that. So
I usually play this game like pacifist mode from Geometry Wars 2.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
That pacifist mode was my absolute favorite way to play Geometry Wars. That was such a good concept for that game.
And that's it for me. Thank you. Have a nice year. And now we get another presentation here from one Sam Dixon, which I'm going to.
Yes, a presentation that I definitely created myself.
That you definitely
exactly what it looks like.
Sam messaged me like 10 minutes ago and said, "Here's my list of games. If you want to get the videos ready," I'm like, "I'm gonna do you one better, and I'm going to create a."
Oh, I thought Sam put out a Fiverr at like 5 minutes before the show and was waiting for this to be ready.
Yeah. Hey, this is my list, and I definitely know what that acronym is in the center there.
GOTY, he did that song.
Yes,
it's GOTY of the year, duh.
Anyways, so before we get to great. I mentioned an honorable mention slide, but we're gonna have two categories of honorable mentions. One is I played for an hour and then something happened, and I put it on the back burner and haven't gotten to it yet. And that would be Neon White Tunic and Cult of the Lamb. Great games. And then games that didn't quite make this list for various reasons. Elden Ring, as has been talked about. Ollie Ollie World, which the reason it didn't make the list
about that.
is I played it on Switch, and that ain't the game. You need to play that on an Xbox, and I recently purchased it there. And let's hope it makes it on next year's list. So it very well might. But yeah, and also the Steam Deck, because it's the Steam Deck, and it both satisfied that itch of needing to tinker with something constantly and be mad when you tinker with it doesn't work the way you want it to, and also reminded me that the Wii U is still the superior console to everything that's ever come out.
Good point.
So with that being said, let's actually get into my list. With a great controversial fourth pick. Hey,
it certainly is.
It's certainly good. Thank you, Taylor.
Let me
really? Was it on your list, Zach?
It's still really good. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's really good. Bugs and all. Honestly, they didn't have to fix it for me. I would have.
They're called Pokemon,
played
not
it
bugs.
To completion. There's plenty of bugs out there too. But I had a great time. I know that GOTY Metal Gear Survive. That's on honorable mentions, to be honest.
There
you
go.
It didn't come out this year. Let's be honest. But yeah, I have a partner who's also very interested in Pokemon. They are 2 Pokemon away from having a complete Dex at this point.
Jesus.
It also helps that I wanted to play Violet, but of course I had to play Scarlet. With the thing that doesn't use his wheels to drive.
Yeah, he's just galloping.
Yeah, maybe the most wild thing about that. Grass starter superior as always. There's a trainer who built like me in every Pokemon game leading up to this one, which is just an Eevee team, a complete Eevee team. So love that. And I just generally had a good time. It basically took the sort of open world that Arceus had kind of flirted with and, made it more expansive, maybe to its own detriment. Allowed you to tackle things your own way, sort of ish. But I just had a good time. And that's really all you can ask for in a great Pokemon game. So I probably won't make it to the complete Dex, but I have completed the main storyline and still working on some of the post-game content. So
why did you choose Scarlet over Violet?
Oh no, I wanted Violet, but my partner said I had to take Scarlet. So, Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, so Scarlet it was. Honestly, it had the better exclusive Pokemon, I think.
Yeah.
Regardless, yeah, so that's number 4. I know, controversial take, but number 3, a game that everybody forgot probably came out this year, Ghostwire Tokyo. Another Bethesda game that will probably be making its way onto the Xbox later in a couple months. Just a great open world to kind of move around in. It's not necessarily difficult or
I can't wait to play this on Game Pass.
Challenging. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The story is really good. It's nice to see like 2 bros like become better bros over the course of the game. Like start off as enemies, turn into frenemies, and then just become bros. And you'll get it if you play the game.
Enemies turn to lovers.
It's just well, I don't know. It's not that far, but the side quests are very good. They're very good at being like, go to this location, finish it, and then that's it. You're not like running across the whole map to do things. The collectibles are very interesting. There's the merchants are cats, so you can't go wrong with there. Powers are cool, but honestly, they could have done more with them. But a solid game, and yes, as you mentioned, more than likely going to be on Games Pass coming shortly. So definitely worth a check out when it comes to that. So boop, if you could move my slide. Hey, remember when I said we'd see this again? What is that?
I can't believe it.
Still don't know how to pronounce it. Anybody else want to take a stab at it?
Lunistus.
That's my best guess. And you love a trailer that doesn't pronounce it for you, so
it's Lunischi.
It is not.
It's absolutely not.
Lunistica.
But a very solid game. I haven't really messed around with too many of the characters because I've been trying to just S-class so I can get the most out of the story. But man, a great, like, I've got 15 minutes to burn, which turns into the, well, I'll just do one more run, which turns into the, I've been playing this for 2 hours, holy crap. So, great game.
Yeah, Stefan, we talked about that whenever you weren't here.
Highly recommend it on Switch and PC, and again, it's $5. Like, if you've got a Steam Deck and you like platformers, do yourself a favor and check it out. And then, boop, next slide here. Hey, a game that technically came out last year, but ended up on Games Pass. I guess I have to repeat this every year, but if somebody would like to fill it in for me, what do I look for most in video games?
Funny stuff.
Funny stuff.
I genuinely don't know, Sam. I'm sorry.
Movement.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say next.
Yeah.
That was my third guess.
I've said so often on this podcast that movement.
That's why he likes. That's why he likes racing games. That's all.
Movement really defines whether I'm going to like or love a game. And Deathloop again just takes what Dishonored already proved was very good. And just expanded it and twisted it a little bit for Deathloop. Plus, it's also, it's a great game that, you're basically given the ability to just end the game day one if you wanted to. Not technically. There are some limitations to that, but, it allows you to sort of brute force your way into finding solutions that they never intended you to do it. Although, obviously, maybe in some way they did intend you to do it. But you can stumble across things just by, like, a lot of times if you're used to that sort of like Deathloop, Dishonored, running away from a situation you've caused by accident, you'll just end up in a building. You're like, what's that? And it's like a clue to the the guy you've been ignoring because you haven't found any information on how to take him out. But yeah, again, with the sort of, if you want to be stealth, you can be completely stealth. Obviously, you have to murder in this game, since that's the crux of escaping the island. But you can be stealthy, but when things go awry, you can use the tools and knowledge you have of maps to able to get out of it. Some people are kind of hit or miss on the whole having another human come into your game and possibly wreck your run. especially if you've been sort of.
I wonder why.
At the end of the day. And you know, there's the get good mentality. And I think the honest answer of that is you need to experience being that side to understand how it works, so then you can defend against it better. And I don't think people kind of understood that in that meta. And I mean, it's just honestly a funny written sort of like.
I knew it.
Yeah, I knew it. You know, it's interesting, like sort of like the idea of loss and how we commit to ideals and how that can lead to our own destruction and the destructions of others. Where I played it, even though I do own it on PS5 also, is Games Pass. Another one, it's now Microsoft owned, so it's probably going to be there for a while. But if you've got like, I think it's like only like an 8-hour game. But just check it out. I know it's from last year. Don't criticize me.
It's wild. It's wild that absolutely none of the advertising for this game showed you how funny this game was.
Mm-hmm.
No, it took itself very serious in all the commercials and advertising and all that stuff. But like, you know, the sort of like insanity that goes on with these characters for experiencing this for so long or believing they've been in this for so long, it's wild.
Yeah.
And just little side quests and stories you can find that they, Arcane, and they always hide in these games, and just great. So that's it. Unless I have a mystery slide at the end.
Nope. You do not.
Nope. That's it.
Yeah.
Great.
Where's Pentiment?
It's a mystery.
Well, I can't wait for us to vote Vampire Survivor Game of the Year. So,
All right. Well, let's move on to the final GOTY person, and that would be Taylor.
All right.
You got anything to show, Taylor? Or are you just gonna talk?
Yeah, you betcha. Can I choose a window instead of my whole screen?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Excellent. Here you go, guys.
Looks great. Important
Yeah.
conclusion.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go from the ground up.
before we jump in, I did see that Plainland mentioned Tinykin. Tinykin, great game, but Lunestis is probably a replacement to that. Definitely a great game. Like, you know, if you're still in that platforming vein, like that would be number 2 recommendation of that this year. And
all right. So I'll start mine off with the list of games that I played is already kind of limited. The list of games that I completed is even smaller. The total amount of games on this list that I completed, I don't want to say. Anyway, let's get to it. Important inclusions. We're going to start with this. The Mister is an incredible device. And picking up a CRT TV this year was transformative in that regard. I played several very good games that are too old to include on this list. The Mister was, kind of foundational in being able to do that. If you're a person that wants to play games on a CRT or even on an HDTV and you're kind of like, if you have even the hint of purist tendencies of wanting to play it exactly how it was on the system, there is kind of no alternative. Anyway, moving on. Honorable mentions. So here's my not top 5. Cult of the Lamb, very good game. We already talked about it. It was a lot of fun, kind of short, but good. I liked it. Dome Keeper. I don't know. Dome Keeper was just distilled game.
Yeah, I just started playing Dome Keeper on, on the Steam Deck, and that's a great
really
Steam
good on
Deck
Steam
game.
Deck.
Yeah,
dude, it's so good on Steam Deck.
It is.
Like the map fits perfectly on Steam Deck. It requires so few button inputs, and like it's not a Twitch game, and it works wonderful. It's just a pleasure to play. I enjoyed my time with it a lot. Rogue Legacy 2.
Yeah.
Did that come out this year?
That was this year, dog.
That was this year.
Like I said, this year was stacked with like think about like 3 years ago, Rogue Legacy 2 was a top 5 game.
Yeah.
Rogue Legacy 2 was great. It's really good.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it. I would have put it on my list.
Another really good Steam Deck game. That shit fucking slaps on Steam Deck. Neon White, mentioned on several people, made it in the top 5 on a few others, just didn't make it into mine. I was top 10 on several levels in the first couple weeks, just throwing that out there. I like that game a lot. All right, here we go. Now you might notice
Rusty's
that I'm on
Real Deal Baseball. I knew it.
Now you might notice that I'm on line 7 on a top 5. Now that's because I've included an important addendum to the list, which is number 6, the Steam Deck, the Silent Killer. It's I know it's not
Killer.
I know it's not a game, but I feel like it's, and we've mentioned it a few times, but I feel like it's kind of too important to me to not mention.
It's been the deciding factor for some of the games on my list. Like,
Yeah.
For me, it's a deciding factor because I don't play many of these games as much, if at all, without it existing. Period. My daughter turns 2 in February. That with time as it is, it just doesn't happen. So yeah, I had to include it in some place. So obviously it doesn't count as top 5, but I wanted to make sure it was mentioned in the vein, in the same sentence as the big guns. All right, number 5, Vampire Survivors. It was good. I liked it a lot. I still play it a lot, and I started dipping back in now that they released 1.0. I'm excited for the DLC.
Yeah, I just bought it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the game that you can sit down and play. Doesn't matter what the context is. Pretty soon you unlock the option where you go at double time. So instead of runs being 30 minutes long, they're only 15 minutes long, and you're like, that's great. And you just keep going. Number 4 is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Probably one of the only, it's my only Nintendo Switch game on my list, I think. Mostly because Steam Deck came in and I started to leave Nintendo Switch behind mostly. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is, for all the same reasons we already talked about, an extremely good game. And also one of the games that I didn't finish, but I will soon. Number 3, Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring is a very good video game. That's about all I'll say about it. I don't know. I don't think I need to say that much more. It's yeah. I don't know. It's top 5. It's very good. I like it. Number 2 is Dwarf Fortress. It only came out, was it like 8 days ago?
Something like that.
Something like that. Obviously, it's been out for
25 years.
20. I think it was 2002. So, but it was definitely after the year 2000. But as it is now, is almost a completely different entity than the original ASCII version, and it is an incredible interactive experience. And I don't know how to describe it other than that. Everybody should play it. All right, and my top is Tunic. Yeah, wow, Tunic is
nice.
The most game that, like, of every game that I've mentioned, and every game that I played this year, if I could forget it and play it again, it would be Tunic. 100%. And I think increasingly that's the game that is the most valuable to me of the one that I played that year, is the one where if I could forget it and replay it, and relive that experience, that's the one that I would probably call my game of the year. And this year was Tunic. Like last year it was, I got to kind of fit Outer Wilds in there because the expansion came out, and so I had played it right before our game of the year nods that year. But yeah, I mean this year it was Tunic for sure. no, Stefan, I don't hate Tunic.
That's the one that popped up for the most of us. I think was Tunic.
I made a joke about Vampire Survivors, but it's probably Tunic, right?
Yeah. I think it's probably.
It's just because it's not on my list doesn't mean I don't absolutely adore Tunic.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Tunic for me is that
it flanks my list.
Is that it's just so. It's so much a distillation of all the good parts of video games.
Yeah.
It has all of the wonder and mystery of older games to the point where they just decided to include the guide and manual in it but they did that, and then they turned it on its head and said, okay, but now it's also a gameplay element of it. I don't know. It's wonderful.
They said we put secret codes in the WAV files of our sound folder. You want to go find the secrets to the map in the folder of our audio? And Stefan called it up earlier when he said that it was akin to Fez. And once upon a time, when Fez came out on XBLA, and I 100%ed that on my 360. Fez was like a profound game to me. I loved everything about Fez. Maybe with the exception of its creator, but what I was saying before, Elden Ring is a video game. Tunic is a video game. But I think honestly,
Thank you, Zach.
You don't say.
I think if I could go back and redo my list, I was talking to my girlfriend about this today, is I would put Tunic above Elden Ring because I think Tunic is the better experience of that type that came out this year because it's so much more accessible, even though Elden Ring is still pretty accessible for that genre. But Tunic is way more accessible, but it's still the same experience, but boiled down. So Dolly can play it, and he's like, this isn't overwhelming, but it's the same thing, and it's so concise, it's so well thought out.
It removes equipment, it removes levels, but keeps the same core. I don't know that the fact that it's one of my all-time favorite game music. Yeah, I mean, it was made by Lifeline. Is that So, or is that the group?
I'm pretty sure.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah, it's also like I was saying about Neon White is
Formed.
The soundtrack for Tunic just due to the amount of clues it holds for the game in general, but also just the soundtrack is so a part of the game's identity. It's if you took it away, it wouldn't be the same game. It's just so embedded.
What's crazy is that Zach and I have read the same. It wasn't a Medium article, Zach, or was it was either a Medium article or a blog post. But so Lifeformed, they did the soundtrack for Dust Force. That's what I knew them from, which was another kind of pseudo speedrunning game from 2014.
2011, like that. I think it's old.
Oh my god, is it really that old? Wow. Yeah. How old am I? Dust Force. Yeah, I know. Thank you. 2012. Jesus.
January 2012.
Holy shit. Really. Anyway, so they did the album for Dust Force, and that's when I got to know them and have loved them ever since. But yeah, so the kind of recap on the music for Tunic was, obviously they did mostly the OST. So I don't know how much they contributed to the other sounds, but just basic sound effects in Tunic have the coded language of Tunic is embedded within the sound effects as well. So like if you do something that's good, they embed the sound effect, they embed the language translation for like you got it right or some shit like that into the sound effect when you do something right. It's I don't know, it's just fucking nonsense. But all in the nice ways where I think that it's cool.
Yeah. It's a game that had a lot of thought and love on every level, and it shows. That's why it took him a decade to make.
I think
It took him a long ass time.
Yeah.
I think in terms of what Zach was talking about, where like Tunic and Elden Ring are kind of the same game, but just like they come at it from a different perspective. It's Tunic wants you. It's actively like welcoming you to figure out what's going on, explore and stuff. Whereas Elden Ring is actively trying to like stop you at every turn.
Tunic desperately wants all of its secrets to be found.
Yeah.
It wants you to collect all the pages of. Okay, I was wondering what Tyler was saying. It desperately wants you to find all the pages of the manual. It wants you to decipher every bit about it, despite how hard they make it. It wants you to figure it out. Elden Ring, it's not that it doesn't want you; it just doesn't care. Elden Ring doesn't care whether or not you find it. Dally just found out that he could do a scrolling marquee.
Yep, baby.
And that's the reason why I love that game.
Also, when this game came out, they had a Discord made for this game specifically to like share things, kind of like Elden Ring has, kind of the same thing, but it was more so driven by the community manager and stuff of like guiding this discovery. So it was really interesting how they were able to approach that.
Yeah, it would be a lot harder to. It's funny that it took as long as it did to make it, because I think it would have suffered, in the kind of Discord's been around for a while. But the height of Discord is over the last like 2 years. And I think the pre-Discord era, it would have been a lot tougher for it to be what it is.
Yeah, the GameFAQs message boards would not be the same experience.
No, not quite. Not quite.
The IGN video game section chat
Thanks.
board
Have they been
is
developing
going
this
to be...
game for so long that Discord wasn't a thing before this?
Oh, let's see.
They probably started it just before, because Discord launched in beta at the end of 2015.
I can't remember what year at PAX East Tunic was at, but I just remember playing it and thinking, man, that's going to be great when it comes out. And then 5 years later or whatever.
I would guess
2015 was when they started to develop it.
So technically they started development pre-Discord, so they didn't know that it was going to exist. But it's one of those things where you wonder, it's like, did they see what Discord was becoming and be like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a part of figuring out all of the secrets.
Yeah. Well, like also this game's kind of it's easy to conform like discussion around discovery of this game because it's not like railroady, but it's set on how you go through most of it. Unlike Elden Ring, where it's like, I'm gonna go that way, you're gonna go, like, it's just kind of impossible to discuss.
Yeah, the only time where it opens up is when you go through the second playthrough of the game.
Yeah, but like, and even then, if you and I played that game, if you and I played Tunic fresh, side by side, our experiences would still be different because I would find different things still, and you would find things that I didn't see or go somewhere like so. It's
because of the way that the puzzles are designed, because there are things that you can get on the first playthrough that are not required. And it's literally just about how much of the secret bits of the world that you managed to figure out. Was it the Golden Path? I think is the main thing.
Well, my playthrough, I didn't even have a mana potion the whole entire time. I just skipped it. Like,
dude, I never used the magic, not a single time. No.
So yeah, it's just like whatever. Like,
But then again, that's how I played Elden Ring too.
Yeah.
So it's like that part was like a direct translation to me. It was very interesting playing them in such close proximity to one another, both this and Elden Ring. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
I was expecting us to
That's our game
fight
of the year.
over Vampire
No,
Survivors or this, but
I would. There was
Tunic.
between the two. I would, even though I included it like high up in my top 5, I would go to war against Vampire Survivors taking top spot.
I think Tunic's definitely the better game.
Yeah.
Like I love Vampire Survivors and we'll be playing it probably clear through 2023, but
Yeah.
that doesn't change the fact, even though Tunic wasn't on my list, doesn't mean I didn't. It's technically number 6 on my list. My bottom 5 weren't my you know, 9 through 6. Those were just honorable mentions of games that I liked throughout the year. But yeah, Tunic is easily number 6 on my list. I love Zelda games. I always have loved
Same.
Zelda games,
The
and
classic
this is just
overhead style Zelda.
and it's not even like particularly Zelda-y in terms of like the game. It's just it has the Zelda feel, which is kind of just a boy lost in the woods, like of the original Zelda, or even A Link to the Past or whatever, where you're just sort of like trying to get your footing in a world that you know nothing about. It does a very good job of doing that and speaking a language that you don't speak but yet understand. It's very fascinating way of presenting a Zelda experience without being a Zelda game. Yeah.
Awesome. That's it. We did it, everybody. No crying.
No fighting.
No
and
fighting.
thanks to Phil for dropping it on Game Pass.
Jesus Christ.
I just keep that image in there for
Thanks, Phil, for the Xbox exclusive Tunic until September of this year.
No, awesome. It's it was an excellent year for games, surprisingly, because there's so many different. I mean, there are so many different styles of games in our nice. So many different style of games in our GOTYs. That I think it was totally worth it. I'm looking forward to 2023, which next week we're going to take a look at the schedule of releases for 2023 and maybe do our there we go. Merry Christmas. Our number 1 fan right there, Lisa.
Thanks for stopping by, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Finally, someone says thank you to us and gives us some good vibes.
Ooh, are we doing most anticipated?
Yeah.
Or we'll do that next week. Next week. Yeah. Because it's already 11 and we've been going.
No, I didn't mean tonight, Ellie.
Well, fam, thank you guys for sticking with and putting PowerPoints together and weird text boxes. But
I will share my memoriam video in the Discord.
Yes, we're gonna post it for sure. We're gonna post it. And if you are watching or listening, post in the comments, post in the Discord. Just go to the website or look at the comments of this podcast on YouTube, Twitch. Hop in that Discord and join and tell us your top 5 games or so, if you can even think about it, for 2022. And I'm sure it's gonna be good discussions. I'm still playing stuff. I didn't play Neon White. I haven't played Dwarf Fortress. They all look really good. I just don't have time to play everything.
Listen, Dally, I noticed that after you played the trailer for Rally Racing, that there was a Dwarf Fortress guide video recommended. I don't know if that was indicating something.
It's very funny that was just wedged in between.
It was just like all car videos and a Dwarf Fortress right in the middle.
It's a sign. Definitely gonna have to hop into this. All right, everybody, you can find us at SideQuesting.com, SideQuesting TV on YouTube and Twitch, and find us SideQuesting at Mastodon. But it's at Discord, baby. Go to that Discord and join us and have a lot of fun, and we'll definitely hang out and chat there. Folks are starting to receive their Secret Santa gifts. Apparently, we had a SideQuesting Secret Santa, so some folks are already starting to receive those. Yes, I am. And in a way, and it's a lot of fun. So maybe we could we'll do, I don't know, we'll figure out. Maybe we'll do a live video of us opening presents, or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just tell each other in the Discord. Either way, we'll see you next week. You can find us until then at Dolly Demovsky, at @_double_J, at Taylor Bliss, at OKQuest, in your pantry or the wherever eating.
Yeah, show me your bread.
Show me your bread.
Speaking of,
The track, baby.
I showed you my
Taylor, go
bread.
check on your
Please
bread.
respond.
And we'll see you in the next episode of the Side Quest. Bye.